What?
Mr. Speaker, it is my privilege to participate in second reading of Private Security Personnel and Private Investigator Bill this afternoon. Sir, this bill highlights concerns demonstrated by the review of 1974 Act. This bill repeals and replaces the Private Investigator and Security Guards Act 1974. There have been major developments since this bill was enacted in 1974. The public and private security personnel did not have access to cameras and other surveillance equipment in those days as they have today. The bill will ensure that there will be a future be better screening and monitoring of all personnel entering this industry, and will bring this bill will bring New Zealand in line with United Kingdom and Australia. Due to the terrorist attacks worldwide and other security threats, security personnel may find themselves in situation where there is a risk to their life and may even encounter physical confrontation. This bill regulates all people involved in this industry to take some kind of training to handle such situations. Bouncers will now be required to undertake training and hold a license. I know that everyone in-house will have heard stories about patrons of bars or clubs being seriously hurt or killed in altercations with bouncers or other customers. We all know about or can imagine the damages that can be done through the improper use of personal and confidential information. These are the very real and very significant risks that this bill addresses. The other thing I want to mention in this relation to the bill like this is that good people in this industry, the vast majority who carry out their role with highest degree of integrity and take pride in their work, stand to gain as much as society. Any industry is degraded by the presence of cowboys. Therefore, those who hold themselves out as able to perform those roles with integrity and skills are protected and ensured by this bill. We can have faith in as a society that people carrying out those roles have the skills and training and that serve to enhance the reputation of the profession as a whole. Volunteers such as people performing volunteer neighborhood patrols do not have to hold a license or a certificate of approval. In-house security personnel, people who are employed to provide security service directly to their employer, do not have to have license or hold a certificate of approval. The exception is crowd controller, in-house crowd controller such as bouncers employed by a bar do have to hold certificate of approval. Mr. Speaker, it is very important for crowd controllers to be trained as we will be hosting Rugby World Cup next year. These crowd controllers should have adequate training to handle such situations. This bill also provides for an increase in penalties to individuals and companies who employ someone without such training from $200 to $20,000. Any individual operating an illegitimate business will be fined $40,000, and any company operating without a license will be liable to pay $60,000. During the select committee process, many submissions were received and heard, and main concern was about Clause 66. Sir, the Clause 66, according to the Act of 1974, prohibits private investigators from taking or using photographs or audio recording without obtaining person's written consent. This clause is quite controversial. The Select Committee has a majority undertaking to remove this Clause 66 and be replaced with Regulatory Code of Conduct for private investigators. Mr. Speaker, its balanced approach to the regulation, the bill provides for a modest, low-cost and self-funding occupational regulatory regime in response to the concerns that 1974 Act is of outdated. out of date. It strikes the right balance between the regulatory cost and risk associated with the industry. The bill will ensure that there can be better screening and monitoring of individuals who want to enter this industry. I support this bill on its second reading.